Hello everybody. I'm not sure which channel I'm going to upload this to. I'll see how it turns out. Because I'm going to ramble. And rambling is not my better, for the ASMR channel. To be honest, the videos that do best on the ASMR channel are my gum snapping ones. It's incredible. I get so many views and clicks on that one. On those, I did like 3. And unfortunately, I can't snap gum because I had more dental work done. And I had just regained the ability to snap on one side. But every time I go to the dentist, I have cavities. I'm a sweet tooth for sure. And so they fix my cavities and then it messes up I can't snap gum anymore. So that's happened again. So I can't snap gum again. So there goes one of my talents for ASMR. And then the other thing that people seem to like is when I do soft-spoken. But my problem is I start out soft-spoken and then I start to forget and then I start rambling. And so we'll see how this turns out. But anyway, I've been really down this week because I've really started missing the guy that I was dating, the one that I met on the cruise. I've really started missing him. You'd think, it's been over 2 months. Let's see, we broke up, actually longer. We broke up in early December. And so that's the rest of December, all of January, and most of February's gone. So that's at least 2 months. So you'd think it would get better. I would miss him less. But I'm missing him more because, well, we had a nice thing going. It's just kind of sad that it ended so quickly. But so I've had this dilemma because those of you who have been following, after we broke up, about 2 weeks later, he sent me a quick text, just saying how I was, and I chose to ignore the text because I was still a little bit hurt and a little angry. Well, I'm still hurt, so I ignored the text. So that was long ago. That was at the 3rd week of December that he sent me the text. So I guess I wanted to talk to him again, but on the other hand, I thought he had not made enough of an effort after, he'd been, I wasn't mean to him, actually. He was very mean to me. I might have annoyed him, I'll admit. I can be annoying, maybe overly concerned, overly motherly, but I didn't feel that I was mean to him to warrant how mean he was to me. So I was mad, and I was thinking I shouldn't just make it so easy for him and whatever. So he just made that one very small attempt and I ignored it, so he never tried again. And now I'm wondering if I did the right thing, because on the one hand I was thinking, well, if he didn't make an effort after what happened, I'm just not worth it to him. So, he really should have tried harder. That's the one side of me. But as time is wearing on and I'm missing him, I'm thinking, well, maybe that was an effort for him. Maybe that's all he could bring himself to do because he felt so bad about the situation. Of course, I'm trying to rationalize. But so my dilemma now is if I should, and I don't think I'm going to do it because I don't have the guts. I kind of keep chickening out, and I keep thinking I might do it, I have his text number. I deleted him from my phone, but unfortunately I have the number in my head. But I haven't texted him, I haven't contacted him. And what I could do, I was thinking of sending him a Facebook friend request. But I don't know if I should. Because at this point, it's good. He made the effort, so I still have my dignity. He made the effort to get in touch, even though it was a very minor, small one, that at the time I felt was not enough effort. But I didn't respond, so I still have my dignity, because he was the one who made the last attempt. So if I were to now send the Facebook request or whatever, I would sort of lose control of the thing, because he might accept, but it might be because he figured, oh, she's as stupid as I thought she was. I can get her back in bed, back in the sack or whatever. So if that's what he was after when he sent the text. But maybe I'm thinking maybe I was too hard, on my judgment of it, and maybe he was making that small effort because he didn't want to be overbearing or something, or I don't know. So, because he really was so sweet to me, usually. I mean, we would fight towards the last few weeks. He would get kind of mean. But he was so sweet in the beginning, so part of me is thinking, well, maybe he really is a sweet person, and I don't know. So I don't know what I'm going to do. I'm probably not going to do it. I'm probably not going to contact him, but I guess I wish he would do it. I wish he would try to contact me. But he's not going to at this stage. He texted me on December 22nd, I remember, because it was a Monday. And we had planned to do something the day before, which we ended up not doing because we broke up. And so it was the Monday after I was remembering that we had been planning to do that thing that we didn't do, and then I got his text. So, anyway. Well, so that's been on my mind, but I guess I'm just gonna let it go. I just have to, and then, but I've met other men, and none of them really do it for me. And there was one guy who actually I did find attractive, who showed interest in me, recently. And, but the thing is, he was pretty honest from the beginning. He said, I like you, I think you're attractive, but the thing is, I want to have a polygamous relationship with 3 women. So, believe it or not, I was actually considering it. I was so lonely that I actually seriously thought I would consider it. And so here's what happened. So let me sit up, because when I'm laying down it's kind of hard for me to talk. But so we met and talked. A lot of it is online, because he lives near me, but we just don't see each other that much. And so I liked him, and I thought he was cute and all this stuff. So we texted back and forth. We actually don't ever talk. We are always texting, but I guess that's the new way to talk to people. That's the other thing about the guy that I met on the cruise. He would actually call, which shows that he must really have liked me at the time or whatever. But anyway, so the guy, I found him very attractive. I thought it was nice. And then he popped the polygamous thing. They said, well, right now I'm alone, but I wouldn't want to have just one woman. In the past, he has had relationships as 3, like a threesome. There were 2 girlfriends, and they all did things together, like a three people. And they would, and so I was thinking, well, how it's not any different than me dating someone who's cheating on me because he's got other women. I was sort of trying to convince myself it's the same thing. I mean, it's just that he's not cheating because he's letting you know. He's not doing it behind your back. He's with these other women. So So I honestly told him that I would think about it. I said, okay, I'll think about it. It's not really something I had ever considered in the past, but so blah, blah, blah. And so I was kind of telling myself, well, how bad would it be? And I told him, well, that could be, but I'm not going to do the threesome thing in bed. You be with her when you're with her or with the other two, and with me when I'm, by myself. I'm not going to do, with other women. So he said, okay, we could rearrange that, and I'll just do it. I was just so silly, the whole conversation, that I was actually seriously. But anyway, I'll tell you what happened. I decided, that it wasn't something I would end up doing after all, because so I was on Twitter, because he's a Twitterer, and I used to not be a tweeter. Is it a tweeter or a Twitterer? But anyway, I didn't used to use Twitter, but I've started using it because I've really been giving push to my blog and to my shop online and my YouTube channel. I'm really trying to get more traffic, and I found that Twitter is actually surprisingly good. I didn't think it could be so effective, but it actually is. I mean, it's a little tedious. You gotta get in there and tweet, but So I'm on Twitter now, which I didn't used to, and he's a big Twitterer. So I saw him tweeting flirts with other women, and I just got so furious in my head. I didn't respond to him there. I felt like tweeting right there on Twitter, like responding to him flirting, because when he writes to someone, since we follow each other, he writes to someone, I see that he's written to someone, and he sees whatever I do, but I'm not flirting with men on Twitter. I'm publishing things just to try to sell. So but he'll be flirting with women left and right, and it just makes me so mad. So I said to myself, obviously I'm not going to be able to handle a polygamous relationship if I can't even handle him flirting on Twitter with women, So even though I think he's cute and attractive and all that, I'm not going to do the threesome, the 3 or 4-some that he wants. So anyway, so that kind of fell through. But I'm glad he was at least honest about it. And then I went to a party with this guy, and he didn't really thrill me. I mean, going on dates is easy. I always can get a date easily, but just finding someone that you mesh with is hard. And since my divorce, I've only had 2 men that I really meshed with, and both times it didn't last very long. So I don't know, and I just don't understand how to read men at this point, because they act like they really like the 2 guys that I meshed with, that it actually looked like it was something more profound. I mean, in the beginning, they were just so, oh, I love you, and so, well, one of them was like that. One of them told me he loved me and all this stuff. And, and then when things get a little tough, they're gone, and you don't understand. It's like from one day to the next, like, well, with the cruise guy, I guess there were signs, because he would get mad whenever I seemed to be like motherly. I guess that annoyed him. He already has a mother, so I guess he didn't need another mother. But my way of showing my affection for someone is perhaps being a little bit motherly, and I've tried to not do it, but it slips out. I guess they feel like I'm disrespectful because I'm babying them or something. I don't know. So, and even though at first they say, oh, I love it, I love how you care about me and all that, they like it at first, but then I guess it bothers them. So I guess, well, that's what happened with the second guy. And with the first guy, I don't know what happened. It was just, I mean, I kind of know, but it just, it didn't make any sense. It still doesn't. And so I just have to, I mean, it's been a few years by now, so. But that kind of, I guess you can only base your like how you react to things in the future based on what's happened to you. And they, and every guy will say, oh, forget what happened with past guys. Or you hear people talking, oh, you're making me pay for all the stuff that the last guys did. But the thing is, men do consistently behave in certain ways that make you, do make you sort of realize that you have to put up a protective barrier in some areas. And so I don't know what to do. I mean, on the one hand, you have to be open and vulnerable to let love in. But on the other hand, each time you do it, the same thing happens. So, I don't know. I don't know what to do anymore. So that's really all that's been on my mind this week for some reason. I've had a few headaches, but I kind of know why I've had headaches too, because I've been really on the computer. I didn't get temp work this week. I have temp work next week. So I've really been on the computer, on Twitter, on forums, posting about my shop. And even so, I have gotten some sales. I'm selling a dog coat pattern, which is a good time of year right now with it being so cold all over the U.S. Even Florida is cold down here. My gosh. I mean, Florida, it does get cold in the winter for a few days, but even this cold, I don't think it's been this cold in Florida even for a while. I've got my sweaters on and socks, and I mean, today, like, I was trying to deny that it was as cold as it was, because it's sort of you just don't want to believe it's that cold in Florida. So I had my flip-flops on. I had decided I was wearing my flip-flops. It was sort of like I was going to force the warm weather, and I couldn't. I had to end up putting on socks. You can still wear flip-flops with your socks, though. And people in Florida do that in the winter. They still wear their flip-flops and their, sandals. They just they just put socks. So it really looks funny, but I guess, you get used to it. It doesn't look as funny to me now as it did when I first moved here. I should do a blog on that. Winter fashion in Florida. Because there are actually people who don't own open-toed shoes. I do because of work. If I didn't go to work, because for work I wear pumps. I have a few peep-toe pumps. And but for work I have usually just the regular pumps that are closed shoes. But if it weren't for those, I probably wouldn't have any closed-toe shoes. All my casual shoes, they're all flip-flops or thongs or sandals or so. And I had a pair. Do I have a pair of sneakers? Actually, I think I do have a pair of sneakers. Yeah, but I never use them. I never use sneakers because for dressing casual, I don't use sneakers. I always wear either shoes or sandals. And I wear sneakers if I work out, but since I never work out, they're brand new. I bought them when I had decided I was going to start working out, and I got them, and they're just sitting there. I've used them. Oh, maybe I've used them once or twice, but I just don't feel right in sneakers. I feel like when I'm dressed casual, I have to wear... I don't dress casual. I mean, unless I'm laying around my house, then I do. But then, if I'm laying around my house casual, I'm just barefoot. Or like now, I have socks on. And then I don't even have a pair of closed-toe slippers. I use to walk across the rooms and stuff, I use my flip-flops. What was I talking about? So I was going to say, I should maybe do a blog. Was that what I was saying? I don't remember. Wait, I'm going to stop the video. Yeah, the video cut off actually right when I was saying I was going to stop the video. But yeah, I guess I was just talking about doing it because I have to constantly come up with ideas for my blog, because you got to post every once in a while so that you get traffic. Yeah, I could do winter fashion in Florida. It would be kind of a funny post, and go out and take pictures. I'm going to have to do it. Well, dummy me. I could do it tomorrow if it's still cold. Because, I mean, once this cold weather's gone, you know, winter fashion in Florida is going to be gone because it's not going to be cold enough to, like. Anyway, I don't have anything else to say. I'll probably watch some of my favorite YouTubers. I have a few. I have one that I watch. And it's interesting. I watch YouTubers that don't really have anything, that you wouldn't think I have anything necessarily in common with their followers. But for example, I watch one guy, but I still get things out of them. One guy, for example, is called Curvy Shrine. He is a fat admirer. He is very attracted to heavy women. Sincerely, it's not a fetish for him. He just finds them attractive, whatever, you know. And I listen to him, and he'll talk about things about self-esteem and stuff that, even though I'm not a heavy woman, the stuff he talks about and the advice he gives sometimes applies to me. So even though I'm not necessarily who he would expect is watching his channel, his words help me. And then there's another gentleman he's sort of I think I've mentioned him before. He's kind of a shock jock, and he's mainly addressing the black community to try to help, try to get them. He is a black man, so he says some pretty harsh things sometimes, which I guess since he is black, he's allowed to, in quotes. But again, some of the things he says addressing the community, the black community, some of the stuff applies to me too, even though I'm not a black person. Like things he says about... actually, I don't remember off the top of my head. It's like when you're listening to him, it's sort of like things click. And not so much on his shorter videos, but he does a live show 3 times a week. And sometimes he'll say, I should do it, because then they have outtakes from the show, because the show is really long. It's like 8 hours. It's like going to a job for him. And he'll talk, and he'll make jokes at first, and then he starts to get into the meat of the show, and he'll take calls, and they'll really talk about things. And sometimes he says some things that they just really wow you, or at least in my case, wow, but in a good way. So he actually is the one who inspired me to get back off my bum and start, working on my blog, and it's not that he spoke to me directly, but things he said got me acting instead of thinking, because I was sort of a thinker. Oh, someday I'm going to do this, someday I'm going to do that. And some of the stuff he said really, it worked for me, whatever the reason. I'm not going to question why. But there's him. There's a lady who does nails, but she's a vlogger. She's just a regular stay-at-home mom that she used to work, but work in a post office, and now she works again, actually, because she went to nail technician school. I actually did a blog about her on my blog, my latest blog post. It's ckane68, because she's a nail artist. But I started watching her before she started going to nail school, because I liked her nail videos. That's how I kind of caught up with her. And then she ended up enrolling in nail technician school and getting her license, and now she's opened up a shop. So I kind of feel like, I've been there watching her develop and blossom. And so I finally said, well, this is in the fashion industry. Nails are fashion. And since I have a fashion blog, I decided to do a blog post about her, and I'm really happy with how it turned out. And then I wrote to her, and we had never spoken to each other before. I've been watching her for at least 2 years, and I don't think I've ever even posted a comment, because I kind of felt like I didn't belong in her crowd, so I would just watch. But anyway, I wrote the post, and then I said, well, I took one of the pictures from her website where she's using to publicize her business. So I said, well, I really should let her know that I took one of her pictures, because it's kind of, and of course it's to help her to get business and all, but still it's probably. So I wrote to her. I said, hi, I'm a person who's been watching your show. I really, I have this fashion blog, basically what I just said to you guys. And, let me know if it's not okay. I've already written the blog post. Here it is. Go read it. Please let me know if this is not okay, and I will remove it immediately, But, whatever. So she wrote back just a quick email like, oh my gosh, thank you so much. That's wonderful. Thank you. So good. So I have her blessing to have that blog post. So go ahead, check out my blog. I'll put the link down below. It's about the fashion industry. It's not fluff. I try to make it a non-fluff fashion blog. Occasionally, I'll put a little fluff in there, but I truly try to stay on serious topics in the industry. So, like business, starting a business, and the slave labor and anorexia in the modeling industry, and I try to stay on the issues. So, and then occasionally I'll put in a little bit like, a little fluff. Okay, I'm going to stop talking. Thanks for listening.